Ladies and gentlemen, in the first year of retirement as a FERS federal employee, there are 5 things you really need to know and understand so you're not caught cold, so you're not surprised. Because again, I love surprises in life as long as they're good surprises, but if not knowing about these probably are not going to be good surprises. So if you are new here and you're a federal employee thinking about retirement, you're in the great spot. On this channel, we talk about federal retirement every single day, and with our clients, we help them retire every single day, and we absolutely love it. So here's the deal. The first thing you have to be very clear on when it comes to federal retirement is the timeline on when things happen once you retire. Because once you retire, let's say you're here at retirement, boom, this is retirement date. You don't get your pension right away, and you don't have access to your TSP right away. It takes time. You got to understand when things happen. So generally speaking, it takes about 1 to 4 weeks. Again, 1 to 4 weeks for you to get your annual leave lump sum payment. If you didn't know already, any unused annual leave you have at retirement, you're going to get a lump sum payment for that, and it normally takes about 1 to 4 weeks, a pay period or 2, to get that annual leave lump sum payments. That, again, it takes a little bit sometimes to get that. Often it's pretty quick, but just be aware it could take 1 to 4 weeks to actually get that check, get that money in your bank account, okay? Next, it takes between 4 to 8 weeks, okay? It takes about 4 to 8 weeks to get access to your TSP. Again, about 4 to 8, a month or 2 for the TSP to be notified, hey, John Doe over here is retired. He can now have access and take withdrawals from his TSP if he wants to. Again, it takes about 4 to 8 weeks to get access to the TSP. So these things don't happen overnight. You got to be prepared with some cash and some savings on hand to make sure you are prepared. Okay? Next, on average, it takes about 4 to 12 weeks. So again, there's a pretty good window there, pretty big window, to start getting your interim pension payments. What are those? Well, when you retire and OPM's processing your application, it takes them a while to get your full application processed, okay? So in the meantime, they say, hey, once we get a preliminary look at his pension and application, once we have a preliminary look that yes, that he can retire, she can retire, they're going to start sending you interim payments. Basically, it's a part of your full pension. Normally between 60 to 80% of your full pension is what they send you. Okay, so between a month to 3 months, okay, you start getting these payments on a regular basis to help fill this gap. They haven't finished your entire application, but they kind of start giving you some money to live off of. Okay, again, it's 4 to 12 weeks, and this varies. These are just averages. Okay, these are just averages. It could be longer if there's hiccups with your application. Okay, now it takes on average 3 to 6 months to get your full pension. Again, 3 to 6 months to get your full pension. Okay, these are averages. I've seen it take longer than 6 months if there's lots of hiccups or a huge backlog with OPM, whatever it might be. I've seen some big time delays there to get your full pension. And when they do fully process your pension, they're going to pay you back for everything they missed during this time. Okay, they're going to pay you back. And during interim payments, they weren't paying your entire pension. So they'll pay you back for everything. They'll give it to you, just a matter of when they finally get it done. Okay? So again, between 3 to 6 months on average is what I see when people actually start getting their full pension. So in the meantime, and while you're waiting for these things, you got to have the cash on hand to make sure you're going to be okay to wait for these things to become accessible. Okay? That's the first thing you need to understand about the first year of retirement is that things take a little bit. You got to have some flexibility. Within a month or 2, you'll have access to your TSP, which is nice. You can take some out from that if you need to fill the gap before your full pension kicks in. Okay? So that's that. Next, your expenses are going to change. In retirement, expenses change. However, sometimes they don't change hugely, but they often do change, especially if you move in retirement. Many people move to, let's say, a new state. They move closer to kids. They move to a tax-friendly state, whatever it may be. They move in retirement. So your expenses are going to change. You got to have some wiggle room in your plan, in your numbers, in your budgets, so that if things go up, Because maybe you got a lot of free time. What are you going to do with that free time? Are you going to take up any hobbies that maybe cost some money? Or you want to do some more traveling? Things may cost money. You got to have some wiggle room. Your expenses, they're going to change to some degree. Now, most of the time, people are pretty comfortable living off what they were living off while they were working. That doesn't always happen. But just have some wiggle room because expenses do fluctuate. Sometimes they go down. Sometimes they go up depending on where you move or if you move, or what things change in your life, okay? What hobbies and things you have. Okay, that's number 2. Next, your social life is going to change, and it should change, and you got to be prepared for it. So while working, especially if you were busy with your career, you knew that every day, that was kind of your social circle. Your social life is you had coworkers, especially if you were in the office. You're around people all the time, and you retire one day, and that's gone. That overnight, it disappears. So you have to know that in the first year of retirement, you need to start taking action to make sure you have good friends and good relationships building up. Whether it's maybe with people in your new stage of life that are retired and into things that you're into, you're going to want to invest into your social circle, into your friends, because that is going to pay dividends time and time again, and your happiness, your fulfillment through all this. Because if you get your money perfect, but you don't have any friends or any good relationships, that's not a very fun retirement either, okay? Next, vacation. What I mean by vacation is when it comes to retirement, it feels like vacation for a few weeks, okay? For a few weeks, it feels like, wow, this is incredible. Every day is a Saturday. This feels amazing. And then you settle in, and it becomes a new normal. It doesn't feel like vacation anymore. You have to settle in and find a new routine. And I certainly recommend, and anyone that's gone through this recommends, that you build in some structure to your day. You build in some things that provide purpose and fulfillment and some structure, because if you don't, guess what? The vacation feeling is going to fade away, and you're going to need something to fill your day with something that fulfills you and fills you up internally, okay? Last but very not least is what I call hello dear. And hello dear again. What I mean by that is you're going to see your spouse. If you're married, you're going to be around your spouse probably a lot more often when you're retired. And many people have experienced some marital conflict just because they're around their spouse more than they've been around their spouse for 30 years while they're working. So here's the deal. With all these things, there's preemptive things we can do to be prepared. With timeline, you can have some cash to be prepared. With expenses, you have some wiggle room in your retirement numbers to make sure you can absorb those, maybe some fluctuations in your expenses. For the social life, you can put the time in to build friends, to build community, so that you have a community outside of work come retirement. For this, you can build hobbies and things you're passionate about when it comes to when things fade away and the vacation feeling fades away in retirement. When it comes to your spouse, putting in the investment of time, energy, emotional energy to build a strong relationship that can weather the storms of maybe having more time together is huge. And doing that now, really, basically, long story short, with anything in life, taking care of something now makes it so much easier in retirement when things may be a little more stressful for some reasons. Retirement in some ways is less stressful, but in other ways, there's new challenges that arise, okay? So these are some things to consider. Again, the timeline, your expenses will change, social life is going to change, the vacation feeling is not going to last forever, and you may be around your spouse a lot more than you're used to, and so it's good to prepare accordingly. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions about federal retirement, federal benefits, your TSP, any of those things, there's a link below to submit questions to us, and we look at those questions and we base our future content on what you guys are thinking about and what you're asking about. And so I hope that's helpful. Have an incredible rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.